Hi, ISEP Bloggers. Welcome. Thanks for joining us this afternoon. We're going to give it a couple more minutes just to have everyone who's signed up join us. If you want to go ahead and comment your name if you're here and joining us, it would be great if you can do that. And we'll get started in just a couple minutes. Thanks. Okay, it looks like we've got a couple more viewers on here, so we're just going to give it maybe another minute or minute and a half, and then we'll go ahead and get started. So thanks again for those who are already here, and we'll be starting in just a couple seconds.
Hi everyone, this is Emily Romero. We're going to switch over right now. I'm the Director of Communications and Marketing here at ISEP. Hey, here with my team. I'm going to introduce ourselves. We're really excited for you guys to be part of our team.
My name is Chris Brown. I'm graphic designer and creative specialist here at ISEP.
And I'm Lindsay. I'm our communications and marketing coordinator, and I'm sure, as you all know, who you've been communicating with so far. So thanks for joining us today.
Just before we start, I just want to make sure that everyone can hear us. If you can't hear us, please use the side comment. There's a questionnaire or question bar where you can put in whether or not you can hear us or you're having any problems. Also, feel free to introduce yourselves, who you are, where you're studying abroad right now, and what university you come from. And then also, if you have any questions throughout the process, just write them in the side and we'll follow up with you either during it or after the presentation. So we're going to start now. Lindsay's going to take it away.
Okay, so like we said, thanks for joining us today. We're really happy to have you here and have you with us for the semester, and we hope you're all really excited for it as well. Just to start off with a couple introductions, like we said, I'm Lindsay. I work in the communications and marketing department, and a couple other people you might be hearing from this semester and helping out from time to time is Emily, our director of communications and marketing, and Chris, our graphic designer and creative specialist.
Well, Lindsay's going to tell you a little bit about herself and where she studied abroad.
Yeah, so I studied abroad in Florence, Italy, and have been involved in international education since then. You know, I really loved my experience abroad and have that experience that we're really hoping for all of you to have. And so just have really enjoyed working in international education so far.
I am Emily, and I studied abroad twice in undergrad. I studied abroad in Spain, and then I studied abroad in Argentina, in Seville and Buenos Aires. And I just got just obsessed with traveling. And after I finished college, undergrad, I went on to the Peace Corps, where I lived in Honduras, and then ended up living in Nicaragua, and then pursued my graduate degree in New York City, where I ended up studying abroad again in Brazil. So I know a lot about Latin America if anyone wants to chat about Latin America, but in general, I'm really excited to have this program and to get to know you guys better.
Yeah. And this is Chris. My international experience is in Australia, where I studied abroad in Brisbane during my time in college. And I'm also, like everyone else said, excited to be working with everyone.
Okay, so now that you kind of have heard from all of us, another aspect of introductions, I think at this point you've all seen the ISEP Voices Facebook group, so you can all interact with each other there. And it looks like a couple of you have already posted something about how you've arrived on campus or anything like that. And feel free to introduce yourself. If you could all introduce yourself and add in anything you want. This group is really meant for you guys to meet each other, and whether you want to meet up with other ISEP students throughout your semester abroad or share any projects that you're working on, anything like that. It's really meant for you guys to just meet each other and meet other ISEP students. But if you could just introduce yourself and add in anything you want, but say one thing you're most looking forward to about this semester. And it can be anything, whether that's learning a new language, meeting new people, trying new foods, traveling to a country close by. It doesn't matter, just introduce yourself and add what you're most excited for this semester. And feel free to comment on each other's introductions. Don't be shy. It's that's what this is meant for. And then one last aspect of the introductions, as I mentioned when we asked for your bio and picture, you'll be featured on a page with all the other bloggers so that people can find your posts, know who you are, and know a little bit about you. And I'm just, sorry, one second. We're just gonna go to this. So this is our, you can find this here. All of you guys will be featured on this page. So if you, I know a couple of you have your own blogs outside of this, and if you want any additional promotion through the ISEP audience for your personal blog, I'm more than happy to add in your personal blog as a part of your bio. And we can also put your email address in your bio if you're willing to answer any questions students might have about where you're studying or what you're studying. So just let me know via email if you want to add either your own personal blog or your email address. Okay, so now we're going to jump in to the general expectations. At this point, all of you have signed the Blogger contract, so you know about what's required of you. But I just want to go into a little more detail so that we're all on the same page here. We are asking you to submit one blog post per month, and that's going to be due on the 15th of each month. And that blog post is up to you, whatever you want it to be, and we'll get more into that in a minute. Basic rules: please don't submit blog posts that feature excessive alcohol, any drugs or related paraphernalia, or sexual content. And if you do submit a blog post with this type of material, it's not going to count for your blog posts per month. And we don't want to be extreme here. If you have a picture with one glass of wine, that's fine. Light drinking is often encouraged in many cultures, but just please use your common sense to determine what's okay and what's too much. And posts will be edited as ISEP sees fit. And then any posts that you submit become property of ISEP. Your name could be used in conjunction with any of the media you submit to promote ISEP programs. And this just means that your photos or quotes might be featured on our social media, in our catalogs, or any other promotional materials. Okay, so I just want to cover some basic blogging tips. I know a couple of you are experienced bloggers, but I just want to cover some basics for the ISEP blog. Keep your posts brief, conversational, and fun. That one's pretty straightforward. You don't want your posts to go on forever and ever, and you don't want to write like you're writing a paper for class. When you write like you're talking to a friend, it comes out much more conversational, and people who you don't even know will find it easy to relate to you. And I want to talk about relating to you for a minute. You all were picked for your really unique backgrounds and stories. You know, we have some really interesting people who are blogging for us this semester, and I'm really excited about having you guys as our bloggers. We really want to hear all the unique experiences that you all are having and have our audience hear that as well. So, you know, feel free to write about anything that you're experiencing as you're studying abroad. Excuse me. And maybe how that relates to your background, whether that's where you grew up, you know, anything that's making your experience unique. We want to hear that and want to share that with our audience. And with the fun part being said, it's also, we want you to be honest and authentic. You don't have to act like your entire time abroad is all amazing and perfect and wonderful, because it's not. It's okay to talk about the parts that maybe aren't as fun, like when you missed your train and got stuck in a city you didn't know, or your nice bed and breakfast that you booked was actually a 10-person room hostel. And writing about these non-ideal moments might help you find the humor in a story, or help you reflect on the moments when you're maybe feeling a little homesick or unsure about your new home. And it's really good to write about all these feelings, and people will definitely relate to these feelings that you're having. So we want you to talk about them and write about that. And if you get stuck as you're working on your blog, remember to try to stick to a specific experience or idea rather than a general post about all of your feelings about studying abroad. You'll get much better results when you try to synthesize your feelings or experiences or thoughts into a post, rather than saying, first I did this, then I did this, then I did this. And you know, maybe if you do want to write about each individual thing that you did during a weekend, try writing it as a list of top 10 things to do and wherever you're away for a weekend or anything like that. Or maybe pick out a favorite experience from the weekend and talk about what made it so great, or talk about new traditions that you learned during this trip, or something that you learned from a local maybe, anything unique about your experience. And then just basic general blogging tips. You know, people, we are obviously going to read your whole blog post. You know, we're really excited to hear about anything that you guys are doing, but just to kind of be a little more scannable for any audience, whether that's the ISEP audience or your own audience, make sure you use any kind of headings or subheadings to break up your content and make it a little more scannable to really attract attention to the important stuff and keep the audience interested. Okay, so we're gonna go into different types of blog posts, and talking about the different types of blog posts can both, if you have something that you want to write about, help you think about how you're going to organize that material, or it can, excuse me, as you're thinking about the different types of content, you know, maybe give you an idea for what you want to write about. So we're just gonna go into, there we go. Thank you. Okay, so our first type is the list style. You might have heard it referred to as a BuzzFeed style blog post, and that's just because BuzzFeed does it a lot. And this is those 25 reasons a trip to Costa Rica could actually change your life, or top 10 things to do in Australia. And these lists are a really good way to kind of put together the thoughts that you're thinking, if you really can't narrow it down to just one thing you want to talk about.
Yeah, and these are really good for like itineraries. If you went to a city while traveling, or you want to do an itinerary for like best art in the city that you're studying, and do like a list of different museums, that's a really good, cool way to sort of break it down. As well as if you have a lot of photos and you don't have a lot of a caption to put under it, it's a good way to sort of do that as well and showcase your photos.
Okay, so another kind of blog post is a how-to. This is our how to sell your study abroad experience to an employer, and you can take this obviously however you want to take it. You know, any kind of how to typically does very well.
It also has a lot of lists. It's sort of a list as well. So it's a how-to, but by giving more of a tips in the list rather than sort of itinerary.
Another type of blog post is content curation. And an example here is my 7 favorite travel blogs of 2015. And he pulls together different bloggers, different travel bloggers that he really likes. And so using this kind of style is really gathering all the resources for your audience. So you're really pulling together the best of what's out there and helping your audience find that best of the best. Another type of blog post that's also, another list is a checklist or a to-do. This one here it's also called a how-to, but how to pack for the unexpected. And this really goes into, as you're thinking of any kind of process-oriented activity, you can talk about what you recommend other students bring when they're studying abroad for their semester or anything like that. Next, we have infographics. I know a couple of you are design experts. This one here is the Global Guide to Hand Gestures. It goes through, obviously, I think you guys probably know different hand gestures mean different things around the world. So you can, if you want to put anything in infographic form, you're more than welcome to do that. We also, I don't know if any of you are big podcast nerds. I'm a huge podcast nerd and really enjoy listening to different topics. And you're more than welcome to create a podcast. This one here is a Beyond Tuition Costs Study Abroad podcast. You can check that out. And then another type of blog is video blogging. And one of our ISEP students who came to the US actually created his own YouTube channel and created all these different YouTube blogs about what it's like to study in the US, how he did certain activities, he interviews different people. And so you can check this out for some ideas and learn what his style was. One thing that we ask in all your posts is really just for the synthesis. So, when you're maybe creating a video blog, don't just video something as you're walking down the street, but really put together those thoughts and make the most of what you can offer.
Yeah, really think about it as a story when you're building whatever you're building, from the writing to any kind of other creative project, even if it's photos. Like, what is the everything that you're putting together? Is it telling a story? And I think that helps sort of create your content better. Mm-hmm. And makes it more organized.
Yeah. And then our last type of post that we're going to talk about today is photo essays. And, photos really can be used to tell a story. So if you want to talk about your experiences throughout your semester through photos, if you really enjoy taking photos, sharing photos, that's a really expressive way to talk about your experiences. And by no means are these the only type of posts that you can have. There are all kinds of ideas, and we're open to any idea you might have. If you have anything that's a little off the wall, you can send it our way, and we're more than happy to work with you on what that post might look like, and we can give you some feedback on your type of post. I'm going to switch back over into the presentation here. Okay, so we're going to talk about optimizing your content, both for our audience, for your audience, anything like that. And when we talk about optimizing, just really getting the biggest audience that we can get for you, and that's both for your benefit and just so you can really make the most of your writing. So these are both some basic things that we've noticed both in blog writing and specifically on our blog. And that's writing about broad topics that speak to a larger audience are naturally just going to have a larger audience because you're writing about things that appeal to more people, and things that whether that's writing something that applies to all ISEP students or all students who are studying abroad in any program, that's really up to you and how you want to take that. And things that we've done, that we've noticed have done well on our blog are professional development posts. That's typically usually written more by alumni, but feel free to talk about any internship experiences you're having or volunteer experiences you're having, and how that's helping you grow as both a student and as a person who's going to relatively soon be entering the job market. So you can talk about how that's how your study abroad is helping you professionally. Photos tend to do very well on our blog, and on every blog. They really speak to people and help make the post a lot more scannable and a lot more enjoyable. Inspirational lists. So, we were talking about that BuzzFeed style. That always is a very popular and common type of post, whether that's things that you most enjoyed about your weekend to Switzerland, or any type of inspirational list that you might be having. Talking about culture is a really big concept in study abroad, and whether that's culture shock or new things you're experiencing, it's really something that we people want to. Our audience is prospective students, and who you guys used to be when you were thinking about where to study abroad or thinking about how you were going to study abroad in your certain major. So speak to that audience and talk about that culture change that you're experiencing. Posts that talk about writing a blog as you're studying abroad, which sounds kind of a little bit redundant maybe, but if you have your own personal blog and you find that we have a couple blogs about how to really write a study abroad blog, and it can sometimes be harder than people think, and that content does really well. Another thing that does well is those ISEP specifics. If you all did our application process, and talking those prospective students through what it's like to apply is really useful, and students really appreciate that type of information. Describe how you're living like a local. Like I said, prospective students is prospective students is one of our biggest audiences, and they really want to know what it's like to experience that culture and why they should study abroad. So you are inspiring these students, and that's part of what makes being a blogger so great. General practices, just try to use study abroad in your headline to catch that larger audience. It helps when people are searching, and your posts are more likely to come up. You can test your headline using this headline analyzer. I'll be sending out these slides. We can take a look at it right now, but you'll have access to all this information. And this just, you can go ahead and type your headline in here, and it gives you a rating of what your headline is. So you can take a look at that whenever you're making a headline. And then just link out to other sites or articles where appropriate. If you're talking about your university, you can link to your directory page, the ISEP directory page for your university in the intro, anything like that. Okay, so next we're going to talk about logistics, uploading your blog. After this is over, you are going to receive an email inviting you to be a contributor on the ISEP blog. And when you get this email, you're going to create a username and password. And your username and password will be your first name, last name, or your first name, last name, ISEP, if your first name, last name is taken. And then you can add any additional information onto your profile, whether you want to put in your bio that you submitted for our bio. You can add that to your profile and add a picture if you want. This is slightly different than the page that we have, so just it helps with you uploading your actual post, which is obviously pretty important. And then once your profile is completed, you'll be able to sign in and create and edit posts. And then we're going to take a look at what that looks like in a minute. When you've finished your post, you can submit it for review. So here's what that's going to look like. This is what it'll look like when you first log in. You see this, it might not be this article here. In fact, it probably won't, but you'll have this basic outline here. And what you want to start with is this, in the upper right-hand corner, that white kind of start a post button. And then it's going to take you to this page here. And that's going to let you put in your title, put in any you know, your written posts, any pictures, any formatting you want to do with your headings and subheadings, anything like that. You're going to put all that in there. And then when if you want to take a look at it before you submit it, you can hit this. There's no text there, so it's not showing up too well right now, but over on the left-hand side, there's the preview button, and you can take a look at what it will look like once it's published before you submit it, and just in case you want to make any changes. You know, sometimes the formatting is a little funky. You might want to add an extra space or make something a little more bold, add in another picture, you know. So give it a preview, and then once you are done previewing it and have made all the edits that you want to make, you can go ahead and submit it for review. And that's that. Again, there's no text, so it's a little lighter, but that blue button over on the left-hand column where it says submit for review. And then once you've submitted it, we'll take a look at it on our end, and then your post will be on the ISEP blog. So that's some basics. And like I said, you'll be receiving an email with the invitation after this is over. If you have any questions about setting up your profile or submitting a post, definitely feel free to send me an email, and we can talk through it via email or set up a quick phone call or Skype call if you're outside the US or anything. But we'll definitely able to work with you on that, so we can work together to make sure it's working well. And then I just want to talk through a couple logistics of our brand style guide. And our brand style guide is a document that's used both internally and externally that talks about the voice and tone, the grammar rules, the visual identity, and the photos about that ISEP uses, so that you feel comfortable writing in the ISEP tone, and that you know what is the ISEP voice and tone and what specific grammar rules we follow. So we'll just take a quick look at that. This is another thing that I'll be sending to you as soon as we finish, so you can take a look at it as soon as we finish here. So this is the brand style guide, and it'll have your table of contents, and this just goes into the background of ISEP and the way that we talk about ourselves, so you know what ISEP is, you know, how we're talking about ourselves, and how you can use this to talk about ISEP as well. So this is our voice and tone, and you can use this, you know, we more than encourage you to use your own personal voice and tone, but just as a basic guide for our audience, this is what we use in our daily practice. Specifically, what you're going to want to pay attention to is the grammar and nomenclature. We do follow the AP style book for grammar and punctuation guidelines, but we do have a couple exceptions, and you can take note of those here. So you know, if you have any specific types of formatting that you're using in your post or anything that you want to double check, you can use your brand style guide as a guideline. And then getting into words and phrases that we use or don't use. You know, there are a couple things that we just do grammatically and punctuation wise, or you know, different jargon that you might want to check out before you're writing your post, and words that we try to avoid, you know, anything related to politics, anything specifically related to religion. You know, just take a look at this as you're writing your post and keep it in mind. And then there are some tips for writing for ISEP, whether that's on the blog, on the web, on social media. This is again, our guidelines, and you can use that however you like. But when we say those posts may be edited as ISEP sees fit, this is what we're talking about here. So here are just some blog writing tips that, especially if you're not, you don't feel that you're an experienced blogger, you're more than welcome to take a look at this and use it as tips for, you know, using your headings and subheadings, and you know, tagging your photos and things like that. And then as you're sharing your posts, this goes into writing for social media. Again, obviously you are more than welcome to use your own voice and tone. This is just what ISEP uses as our social media writing. And so feel free to take a look at that as you're sharing your posts. I'm going to briefly touch on our visual identity, and we are not including this to say that every photo you submit needs to have an ISEP logo on it at all. Definitely don't think that you need to add the ISEP logo to pictures or anything that you're submitting. This is just if you want to create anything that is branded specifically or anything like that, you can use this as your guideline, but again, don't feel like you have to. It's just there for your information if you're curious. And it's interesting to take a look at if you want to. And then these are you might be familiar with our new visual identity and the colors that you're seeing. If you want to do anything with colors, again, not required by any means, but these are the different colors and our color palette if you want to do anything with that. This is our typefaces in terms of our visual identity. And then something important that I want to talk about is, in terms of our visual identity, is photography. And photos, I'm sure you know, are a crucial part of what we do and what is inspiring in study abroad. And travel photos are huge. So this just talks a bit about what photos tend to do well with us, and photos that we are really excited about, and also things to avoid when taking your photos and sharing your photos. So feel free to take a look at this as you're creating your posts and taking your photos and sharing this information. Okay, so let's get into what you can expect of us. You can always expect edits and occasional feedback on posts. I am always going to take a look at your posts for spelling, grammar, anything like that. Especially, if you're really struggling with a certain part of your post, you can let me know and I'll take a look at it and we can work together on really making your post the best that it can be. And when I say this occasional feedback, that might mean, if I see something that you're starting on and I say, hey, I really like where you're going with this part, maybe develop that idea just a little more. We're going to work together on these posts and really help you create the professional portfolio that you're looking for. And with that professional portfolio, we are going to be having another webinar throughout the semester, and I'll be sending out an email just similar to that doodle poll where we'll ask you what's the best timeline for having a webinar about developing a professional portfolio. So that'll be coming from me, and you can keep an eye out for that and for the webinar. You will be receiving a recommendation letter at the end of the semester. So, as we're working together, I will definitely take note of all your hard work and anything that you're doing for ISEP throughout the semester. And then you'll also receive a certificate to congratulate and notice all your hard work for ISEP throughout the semester. So with that, feel free to use the chat function that should be on the right-hand side of your screen. Are there any questions that anyone has? Anything that I maybe didn't address that you were hoping to hear about during this webinar? Anything like that? Feel free to put that in now. We'll stay here for a couple minutes and just wait for any questions. But if you think of any questions, 5 minutes from now, 10 minutes from now, a month from now, you can always reach out to me via email, and we can either set up a time to talk or just communicate via email and answer any questions that you have. So, but yeah, if there are any for now, just put them in that column right there. And, oh, that was by accident. Hopefully, I saw one question, but it looks like hopefully everyone's heard that entire presentation because this says, okay. We're just going to wait a couple more minutes for questions. Rough draft or final submitted by the 15th. If you could submit what is your final draft by the 15th, and then I'll go ahead and make any edits on my end, whether that be grammar or anything like that, any spelling. issues that I see. And then if I if I have any suggestions, like I said, you know, in areas that I'd like you to further develop, that can happen after the 15th. So if you could have what is your final draft submitted by the 15th, that would be great. But if you want to reach out to me beforehand and let me know that you're having an issue with your post, then you're more than welcome to do that by the 15th. Okay, we have another comment. Blue says, I heard the entire thing. Great. That is wonderful news. Okay, Maddie says that she missed the very beginning. Are you only supposed to make 1 post a month, or is that just a minimum? That is just a minimum. You're more than welcome to submit more than that. We just, based on the content that we have, you know, I can't guarantee that if you have 2 posts that they will both make them, but you're more than welcome to submit as many times as you like. And if we have room for that in the content calendar, then we can definitely post both of those. So that is up to you. Okay, and are there any other questions? If you do think you submitted one and I didn't answer it, give it another try maybe. And it's, in case you don't see it, it's a Q&A blue button, and it should create a chat bar on the right-hand side. Feel free to post anything else, or if there anything. Okay, Catherine says, what's the limit for how many posts we can make? I don't know if that was before I answered Maddie's question. There is no limit necessarily. It's just, you know, we can't. Feel free to write as much as you like. You know, journaling or blogging is a great way to write about all your feelings and thoughts and experiences from studying abroad. We just can't guarantee that every post will make it on the blog. So if there's anything that you would like me to clarify, go ahead, and we'll take maybe 1 more minute to wait for any last questions to come in. And then we will wrap up, and I'll send you the slides and the orientation links, and so you can make your profile and everything like that. Okay. We have a comment from Blue saying, I have a blog on Instagram. It's very informal, at across underscore the blue. Could you look at that style and tell me if it would be okay as far as ISEP's vision and grammar and such? Yes, I'm happy to take a look at anything in terms of ISEP, voice and tone and grammar. Yes, and we don't want you to change your style. I don't mean to say to change your own voice and tone. Just giving you the background of what ISEP puts on our Instagram and blog. But yes, I'm happy to take a look at anything that you would like me to. Okay. Okay, so Umberto says, I won't study abroad until the 17th. How will that work? Okay, there are a couple different things that we can do with this. And for those people who either haven't left yet, or, well, you know, if you're not leaving for a long time, we can talk about that. But what you can do is write about your feelings before you go. You know, write about what you can write your pack list, or excuse me, packing checklist that you're working from as you get ready to study abroad, or anything that you're doing to get ready to study abroad. The other thing, you know, if you'd rather just wait until you get there, we can just extend by a couple months, because obviously if you haven't left yet, you're going to be staying a little bit longer. So we can talk about that for anyone who hasn't left yet, what you'd prefer to do, whether you want to start now and write about your experiences before you go, or just wait. Okay, Joy says, so first post will be due February 15th. Yes, that is correct. Oh, Carlos said that, sorry. Yes, that is correct. Okay, I I think these are all the comments that we have. I apologize if I missed yours, but it looks like this is all we have for now. Again, if I didn't address something that you were hoping to hear during this orientation, please reach out to me, and I'm more than happy to talk with you about that. But for now, I hope that you all found out what you're looking for now. I'll be sending out the follow-up information, and anyone who has left for your study abroad, I hope you're having a wonderful and amazing time. And anyone who's getting ready to go, good luck, and we wish you all the best. And I look forward to working with all of you throughout the semester. I'm really excited about this program, and I'm really excited about what we're going to do throughout the semester. So I will talk to you all soon, and thanks so much for joining us today. I really appreciate you guys being here, and I'll be following up soon. Okay, bye.